welcome back. My name is Una. I do videos about project planning and other related content, and today I'm doing my inventory update for September. I know I technically did my last inventory update at the end of August, so this should be technically like the end of September. Is that even true? No, it's fine. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. I'm doing my inventory. Most people split either into halves or quarters, but because I'm in college and I go home for the middle third of the year, I figured I'd do thirds. So this is my second update, and then the next time I update my collection will be at the end of the year / the beginning of next year. Yeah, so let's get into it. I'm fairly excited about this update, and I took pictures of everything this time, so I have lots and lots of pictures that I will insert afterwards, and my face is once again quite shiny. I don't know, I kind of dig it. Anyway, let's get right into it. We're gonna start with primer. I'm not quite sure how much data to give because I have a lot of data. I have beginning of 2020, beginning of 2021, halfway through 2021, and 2 data points in 2022. So I'm gonna try and summarize it as much as it is relevant. Anyway, my highest number for primers was 3 at the beginning of 2021. I used up 2 primers. So I only had 1, and then I bought 1 between this update and last update, so now I have 2. Yeah. For foundation, I only have 1. I've only ever had 1. I'm trying to pan it. I am more than halfway done. I'm probably that is most of the way. I'm really close to being done. I'm fairly close to being done. So yeah, that's that. In terms of powder, so this category has changed a lot, actually. The most I've ever had before this point was 3. 2 of those powders I actually completely finished. So I had a really old L'Oreal powder that I just finished a couple days ago, which is spoilers for my rolling project pan if this is going up for that. And then I also finished a NYX powder. I have one powder that I've had for a long time, which is a Bare Minerals powder. I still have that, and I bought one powder earlier this year. So those are my normal face powders, and then in addition to those, of which I only have 2 still, I decided to recategorize 3 pressed powder highlighters as face powders because when I was working on them this year, I actually hit pan on 2 of them, and they're not highlighters at all. They're just very slightly illuminating face powders. So of those 4 powders, I decided to make 3 of them face powders and 1 of them a blush, because that one's a little bit darker, a little bit more orange. So now I have 5 powders. I haven't bought any powders since the beginning of this year. I bought a powder in January, I believe, or February. But since then, I've had the same amount of powders. I just moved some things around in terms of categories to better fit what I use them for. Yeah, so now I have 5, which looks like it increased by 2, but it's really just because of recategorization, and you'll see that when we get to highlighters. This video is going to take forever. In terms of concealer, I had 4. I've had 4 for a while, since the beginning of last year. Now I have 3. That unfortunately was not because I used one up, it was because one went bad. But I'm feeling pretty good. Right now I'm working on a concealer. Pretty soon I think I will switch back to my other 2, one of which is too light and one of which is too dark. I'm not feeling the urge to buy concealers these days. I'm feeling pretty good about that. So that's that. Bronzers, I have 3. It's the same 3. I've been really trying to hit pan on a bronzer this year. It has not happened yet. We will see if I can finish that goal by the end of the year. And then maybe I'll think about using one up, but it is slow going. In terms of powder blush, this is another one that's a little bit chaotic. At the beginning of the year, I had 6. Before that, I have had up to 7. By last update, I had 5, and now I have 6 again. So between the beginning of the year and last update, I believe I got rid of one. I decluttered one, but I have since recategorized one of those face powders as a blush, or what I thought were highlighters generally as a blush. So I didn't buy any new powder blushes, but I have increased this category by 1. In terms of liquid or cream blush, I had 7 at the beginning of the year, then I had 8 last update because I bought one, and now I have 7 again because another recategorization. One of the Marc Jacobs illuminating or highlighter kind of things was a little bit deep for me, so I put it in the liquid blush category, but I realized I actually like to wear it a different way in which it serves as a liquid highlighter, so I put it in the liquid highlighter category. Yeah, so that has gone down because of recategorization. I apologize for all of the confusion around that, but generally you'll see the overall numbers as well. Then in terms of powder highlighter, I've had 23 since the beginning of 2021. I had 19 in 2020, and I'm back down to 19. So this was what I was talking about. I had 4 powders in this category that I kind of considered highlighters. None of them are really highlighters. So I moved them out. It feels so good to have that number below 20 because like that is so many highlighters. I do realize I have 2 like highlighter palettes basically, which is where the bulk of those numbers come from. And in one of those palettes, a lot of them don't work as highlighters for me, so I might eventually like put those in eyeshadows or something, but for now 19 highlighters feels so much better than 23, especially because I'm like nowhere near panning any of them. But anyway, that feels really good, and even though I didn't pan anything, it feels really nice to have those in other categories where they feel really much more approachable. Like having 23 highlighters as opposed to having 5 pressed powders, like I feel like 5 pressed powders feels like, yeah, I could use all of these up at some point, especially because I have pan on a bunch of them. But 23 highlighters was way too many, so that feels really good, even though it's kind of logistical. In terms of liquid or cream highlighter, I had 4 last update. I had 6 at the beginning of the year, then I had 4 last update, and now I have 4. I believe I used 1UP. I know that. All right, I'm not really sure where one of them went, but I know that one of them I gave to a friend because it was much too dark for me. And then I used 1UP. And then I recategorized 1. Like based off of what I had last update, I should have 3 now because I used 1UP, but I added a new one to the category. But 4 is not that many. And 2 of them are cream, 2 of them are liquid, and 1 of them I'm already working on panning. So I'm feeling pretty good about those. I definitely feel like I can work on them, especially the liquid ones. I feel like I can go through them within the next couple of years, and that will feel really good. All right, in terms of mascara, I've had 2 or 3. Right now I have 3 at the last update, and the beginning of the year I had 2. This is basically just, I usually have 2, and what happened this time was when I had switched onto my second tube, so I had like gone down to 1 temporarily, my mother's coworker had some that were close to expiring that my mom gifted. She gifted to my mom, and my mom gave to me. So now I have 2 completely unopened, completely sealed, close to expiry mascaras, and that's the way I prefer to get mascara, is without paying for it, because often you can get it for free. You can get it from a friend or as a point perk or gift with purchase type of thing. The mascara I'm using right now is the AOA Studio one, and that was $1, so I was like, sure, I'll pay for that. It's $1, it's fine. I don't love it, but I did like it better than the e.l.f. one, I think. So anyway, now I have 3 that will go back down to 2 and then down to 1, and then I'll figure out where to get another mascara, but that keeps me set for like the next 8 months, which is really nice. All right, in terms of liquid liner, I had 2. I've had 2 for a really long time, and now I'm saying I have 2. This one's a little bit tricky also because I did finish a liquid liner this year, which I feel really good about. It was pretty old and I used it a significant amount and then it dried up. But I had realized that I have a freckle pen that I don't really categorize anywhere because it's a unique product. I don't have multiple freckle products. And so I thought about putting it in brow products or in liquid liner because it is like a pen. And I decided to put it in liquid liner because I have sometimes used it as a brown liquid liner. And I quite enjoy that actually. It's like very subtle, it's very cool toned, and just like kind of looks almost like an extension of the shadow of your eyelashes, and I really like that. So if I was to be really a stickler about this, I would go back and add this into my liquid liner category, which would mean that I had gone down from 3 to 2, but I'm just gonna add it in now because that's when I noticed. All right, in terms of potted liner, I bought a lot of potted liners this year, so I have 12. I used to have 5 before that for a while, but now I have 12. The number's not going to fluctuate anytime soon unless I decide to declutter some or give them to friends or something, which I could do, and even so it probably wouldn't fluctuate that much. But yeah, I've been trying to make it a focus to get some use out of some different pot liners. It's definitely tricky, especially when they're more colorful, but I've been learning to work with them. I've been learning how I can kind of spice up my liner life. It's been pretty fun so far, and I don't really necessarily, like, it wasn't the best decision, but I don't really regret it either. So that's at 12, which is pretty high. Next is pencil liner. At one point this was at 8 at the beginning of 2020. Then by 2021 it was 4 because a lot of those had gone bad. They were really old. They're from my middle school days. And now I have 3. So that was 2 black liners and 1 nude liner. I'm panning one of the black liners and I'm really hoping to have it finished by the end of the year, which would be incredible. And then I'm kind of on and off working on the nude liner. I've been trying to use it consistently because I know the formula does dry out and go bad, so that might be down to 1 by the end of the year or early next year. That would be my absolute like maximum goal, and then I could just work on the 1. I do like pencil liner, and I've been getting used to wearing it a lot actually. Like I've been doing a wing every day with pencil liner that I actually really like, but because it's kind of less cost efficient and time material efficient than potted liner. I do have I have 2 potted black liners. One's a gel liner, one's a water activated liner. I'm gonna try to use those before I buy another pencil once I'm done with all of my pencil eyeliners, which will probably take like 2 years. Anyway, that's feeling pretty good. All right, next is lip liner. This was at one point as high as 5 in the middle of 2021. At the beginning of the year it was 4. Then halfway through the year it was 2 because I decluttered 2 to a friend, and now it is still 2. I am working on these lip liners on and off. I don't wear lip liner very frequently, so it's a little bit tough, and I do sometimes use my eyebrow pencil as a lip liner. So yeah, basically I definitely don't need more than this. I could even do with fewer, but it's fine. I'm not buying lots of lip liner or anything, so we're fine. All right, in terms of bullet or stick lipstick, this is probably my like worst category for this update. At the beginning of 2020 this was only 7. By the beginning of 2021 it was 11, then 13, then 15, and then I decluttered some, so at last update it was at 13 again, but I've been enjoying bullet lipstick a lot more recently, and there were a couple that I had my eye on for a really long time and I ended up buying, and then there was a color from my Huda Beauty lip samples that I was really enjoying, and I didn't have anything like that, so I went out and bought some to try and dupe that color. So I did buy 4 lipsticks this kind of third of the year, so now I have 17, and that is a significant amount. I definitely don't want to keep buying that many lipsticks within one term, and also I will say because I was kind of determined to buy these things, it was about half the money that I've spent on makeup this year was spent on these 4 lipsticks. And some of them are gorgeous. Like you'll see I have the ZC Dragon Princess, Dragon Palace lipstick and the Picasso lipstick. Like they're gorgeous lipsticks, and even the Lawless one is very nice, the component and everything, but I don't want to be buying more lipsticks. I feel really good about the variety that I have, and I'm good. I feel good. I'm gonna try not to buy any more lipsticks. Maybe if I finish one, maybe I would buy one, but I don't really feel the need to do that. So yeah, I am working on panning a lipstick. It's slow going. I'm wearing that lipstick right now, and I will continue to declutter if they go old, although I don't have that many really old ones anymore. So anyway, long-winded. My lipsticks have increased by 4. But only by 2 since the beginning of the year. Yeah, one also I gave to a friend, which I might do again if I notice I have multiples or there's some that I'm really not wearing or that I don't like the formula. Oh, and I will say actually one of these lipsticks also I mostly only use as a cream blush because I really don't like it on my lips. So if I find a good compact, I might turn that into a cream blush and move that to the cream blush category. Yeah, so that could happen. It could fluctuate a little bit. All right, in terms of liquid lipstick, at the beginning of 2020 this was 9. By the beginning of 2021 it was 8, beginning of this year it was 10, last update it was 6, and now it's 5. I did use one up between last update and this update, which feels really good. It's the first liquid lipstick I've ever used up. Mostly other updates have been due to declutters or yeah, I mean either to friends or like they're expired. But yeah, 5 feels good. I haven't bought one in a really long time. I don't use them a ton. I need to work on rotating them. I think I've been more focused on my other lip products, but 3 of these are like my absolute favorite formula, so I definitely do want to use them. But yeah, I'm not, that's a totally fine category. It's just been going down since the beginning of the year. All right, in terms of lip gloss, at the beginning of 2020 I had 4. At the beginning of this year I had 13, and now I have 10. So I think 1 or 2 of those was declutter. I didn't use any up. I'm so close to using one up right now. I accidentally left it at my boyfriend's place, so he has to bring it when he visits me later this month. But I'm so close to using up one of them, which is not pictured in the updates, obviously, because I don't have it with me. But, and I'm really like focused on using them and wearing them. And so yeah, I mean, 10's definitely a little bit too many, but I don't feel too bad about the number, and I'm not buying a ton. I think maybe if I used up like 2, I would let myself buy another one, 2 or 3. But for now, we're pretty good. At least it didn't increase. And then in terms of eyeshadow primer, at one point I had 1, now I've had 2 for a really long time. I still have 2. I am panning one, but there's so much product. I depotted the product like I hated the applicator, so I depotted it, and it is drying out a little bit, so I will probably have to declutter it at some point. It's also very old, probably around 5 years old. If I notice it's irritating my eyes, or if it gets super dry and annoying, I will get rid of it instantly. I actually did a fun test with it the other day because I didn't know if it was actually making my makeup better, and it definitely does make the shadows stick more. It doesn't really help them shine or anything, but yeah, anyway, that was kind of fun. So for now I still have 2. In terms of cream and liquid eyeshadow, for a while I've had 3 and 4. At the beginning of this year I had 4, last update I had 3, and now I have 2. I did decide to declutter one. I decluttered one at the beginning of the year and gave it to a friend, and then I decluttered one to the garbage just a couple days ago, because it's a jelly eyeshadow. I did roll it into one of my projects. I just don't like using it. I don't like the color on me. It's super dried out, and the packaging is super annoying. So basically, I don't love throwing things away, but it's just like nobody's gonna want to use it. I would not give that to a friend, and I'm not gonna get any use out of it. So yeah, okay, so setting spray, for a while I've had 2. At the beginning of the year I had 2, then 1, and now I still have 1. I did use up 1, and I gave 1 to a friend, and then I bought 1. So that's what happened. I've been using the one I have. I'm about halfway through it, if not more, so I've been using it regularly. I use it almost every day. I wear foundation. I used it today. I enjoy it. It's not really setting spray, it's more of like a refreshing mist, like a makeup mist. I don't think it really sets my makeup, but I like the way it brings the products together, keeps them, I don't know, looking less flaky and dry. All right, then for brows, I've had 3, 5, 4, 3. Right now I have 4. I bought 1 product at the beginning of this year, and I haven't used any up. I'm really trying to use up my brow pencil by the end of this year to bring this back down to 3. And maybe even also my Glossier Boy Brow Eyebrow Gel. That would be incredible. If this category was 2 and it's just like 1 hold product and 1 color product, that would be incredible. The other 2 products would take forever to use up, so those will probably not be used up organically. They will probably be used for hopefully years and years and years until they go bad, or I get tired of them, or they get gunky or whatever. So yeah, 2 is my goal by the end of the year. And I'm gonna make a video soon with all the products that I'm really hoping to push on to either finish or hit pan on by the end of this year. All right, in terms of eyeshadow palettes, at the beginning of 2020, this number was 8. At the beginning of last year, it was 17, then 18 in the middle. At the beginning of this year, it was 15, and now it is 14. So last update it was 13. That's because I counted my Going Coconuts palette as singles instead of as a palette, because I had dismantled the palette and I didn't know I left the packaging at home, but I have since put it back in its packaging, just because of the way that I've kind of started to use my singles. So you can see it in the picture now. So that's 14 ready-made palettes. And I'm feeling pretty good about that number. I haven't bought a palette in a while. When was the last time I bought a palette? Anyway, I have depotted quite a few palettes somewhat recently, like within the past year. And I'd repressed some, and yeah, so right now I have 14 palettes, and I'm feeling pretty good about that. I kind of wish it was slightly fewer, but there's none that I desperately want to declutter or anything. I think the next thing would be my Carly Bible palette. I might depot and then like get rid of some of the shades, because some of the highlighters I don't use at all or might work better in different packaging, and because there's so many staple shades in the palette. It would be really nice to be able to rearrange them, make new color stories and that kind of thing. But my goal, I think, which I'll put in the other video about my goals for this year, would be to hit pan in every shade in that palette by the end of the year. And that would be really cool. So anyway, it might go down to 13 and then I'd have more singles, but this is feeling pretty solid for now. Right, for eyeshadow singles, this number has fluctuated a lot. Just for context, in 2020 I had 4, by the end of the year, or by the middle of the year I had 38, by the end of the year I had 42, by the middle of that year I had 83, so it was like exponentially growing for a little while. At the beginning of this year I had 83, last update I had 119, this is because of all of the depotting I did. I only bought like 7, I think. And because of various things, I honestly, this number seems a little bit weird to me, but I re-panned some palettes, so I think there might have been another ColourPop palette that I was counting as singles for a while or something like that. And then I did declutter some singles, but not that many, like 5 maybe. Anyway, I had 119 last update and now I only have 99. So this marks like a significant decrease that I'm not quite sure why it's so significant. I also used up 2 eyeshadows this year, but only one of those was a single, so I don't really know what the deal is with that. Anyway, I feel like that it's not growing. I haven't bought eyeshadows in a while, since before last inventory update, and they're definitely something that does tempt me, but I've been having a lot of fun with my singles, making different magnetic palettes. Yeah, so that's been good. So yeah, like I said, I could definitely see that increasing because of depotting things to make my collection more versatile. But basically what I've settled on is I have a picture of this palette right here. This is an Adept Cosmetics magnetic palette, and I have this color organized grid of eyeshadows, and basically I want to have all of my 26mm circle pans fit in here, which right now I have 5 spaces, so there's not a big margin of error there. There is one pan that I want to try to use up at some point, or 2-ish, but yeah. All my circle pans I want to be able to fit in here, and then anything else I want to be able to fit in here, which is another Adept Cosmetics palette. This is much bigger, but I'm only using 1/2 of it right now, and I don't think I would want to like buy a bunch of non-circle pans just to put them in here instead. Basically, I want to have everything like as compact as possible. And yeah, I just don't really feel the urge to buy new eyeshadows as much these days. I also feel like I've had some experiences where I get like really into buying new singles, and then I realize that some of them are like basically identical to ones I already have, and I'm like, well, did I need to buy those? Not really. Anyway, so with those kinds of things, I've been feeling really good just about using singles I have, and often the things that I feel like I'm missing in my singles, I know it's like they're just basic and I have them in my palette, so even if I would want them as a single, it's not like I'm gonna buy them, you know? Anyway, 99 feels good. I did not trust that number because it seemed so low, but I counted multiple times, and that seems to be what it is. And that's also including my Super Shock shadows, and my I have a little single from Ipsy that's like, it's called Yoga Pants, I think. It's like a mauve. I forgot about it. I totally did not remember it existed until I went back through my spreadsheet when I was looking at my numbers, and I was like, oh yeah, I do have that whole eyeshadow that I've used like 3 times. So I do want to try and focus on making sure everything gets used and remembering things. But anyway, singles are good. I've been talking about singles for way too long. Alright, so that total, including my eyeshadow palettes as their own number and my singles as their own number, gives me 226 items. So because my singles number is so different, that gives me a total that is significantly lower than last time. So at the beginning of the year I had 217, last update I had 244, mostly because of all those extra singles, and now I have 226. So that feels pretty good. It's a lot more than like the beginning of 2020, which was 85, or the beginning of 2021, which was 166, but you know, baby steps. Anyway, but if you look at my total without the powder eyeshadows, so anything that's not powder eyeshadow, including cream eyeshadow and everything, because those numbers fluctuate much less strangely, my total is 113, which is one more thing than last update when it was 112, but my total at the beginning of the year was 119, halfway through last year was 116, so it's about the same as the beginning of 2021, which feels good. And then if you look at my number of pans of eyeshadow, my total is 246, which compared to the beginning of this year was 259. I've definitely made some progress. I decluttered a whole palette, I've decluttered some shades, I've used up 2 shades, that feels really good. And then my total, so if you, basically my favorite number is when you add the total of things that are not eyeshadow, plus the number of pans of eyeshadow. So it can give you a concrete number of how much eyeshadow it is, because it's, you know, I don't want to count, like, one palette is not equal to one single, you know? So this like kind of counts it all as pans of eyeshadow. I have 259 items, as opposed to last update I had, 359 items. Last update I had 363. The update before that I had 378. The update before that I had 364. It's actually the exact same as the beginning of 2021, which feels pretty good. Yeah. So basically that's my total. I've peaked, I feel like, in basically all categories, and I'm coming back down. I guess like the one exception to that would be brow products, which is like not really an issue. Pretty much everything feels really good. And like I said, I have another video I want to make of products I really want to finish before the end of the year. And I feel like if I did all of those, I would be like another 5 items at least below that. And yeah, I'm just feeling really good. I really had a good time looking over my collection. It feels pretty manageable. I'm definitely still, I kind of need to work on a way to kind of shop my stash, get a little bit of usage on things. For the last couple months I was doing the Stardew Valley pan, and that has kind of fizzled out because I'm on the last room. It's taken me forever, by the way. It's taken me like 2.5 months, but yeah, just some way to rotate some use on things, especially like lip products or highlighters, because I have so many of those, and just really enjoy it. But I've been having a good time. I just updated my Panless eyeshadows, which has been really fun. Yeah, I've been feeling really good about it, and I've been kind of fairly tuned out of the makeup world, which is generally what makes me the best consumer, I would say. Still pretty into the project painting world, but a little bit less so. I feel like even in the project painting side of things, you can get a little bit into the like makeup fandom, and that's less healthy. But yeah, quickly I can go over like my purchases just really generally. So far this year I have bought, or gained I should say, because some of these were gifts, 28 items, which is just a little bit less than last year, and I still have a couple months to go, so I'm hoping to stay below last year. My total is almost the same though, with $179 so far spent versus $185 last year. That seems like a little bit much. I said like it, but like I said, like half of that is just these 4 lipsticks, and I knew, like when I bought them, I was like, these are things I'm just gonna, they're beautiful objects that I really want. You know, they're recommended, the lipsticks are recommended by Hannah Louise Poston, and I was like, I feel like the value that I'm getting out of this, I'm really enjoying spending this $30. And it's the $30 I can afford to spend, and so I'm just gonna really enjoy that and not worry about it and then end up buying something that I'm not gonna enjoy as much or that I don't want as much because it's cheaper, you know? So I might exceed a little bit what I spent last year. Overall though, I feel like I have not been buying as much stuff, and I just have not been like as obsessing over it as I was last year, if that makes sense. I don't know, I feel pretty good, and I feel like I'm only going to improve in my habits. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I hope you enjoyed. Oh, I should give an overview also on the things I've panned this year really quick. Really quick. So far I've hit 22 pans compared to 16 pans last year and 13 pans the year before. I'm like already way ahead. That's just eyeshadow pans. I've also hit 3 face pans, and I'm hoping to hit at least another 1, if not 2, by the end of the year. So it's 25 total as compared to 19 total and 15 total last 2 years. I have had 11 makeup empties, which is about the same as 2020, but it's 2 more than last year, so that feels good. As well as some skincare empties, mostly like samples and stuff. And then I've decluttered 21 makeup products. Now the majority of these, I think about 11, or no, about half of them, I'll say. Half of them went to a friend, which feels really good, and then another bunch of them were, a couple of them I lost or expired or whatever. So yeah, that feels good. I'm just generally focusing on what I like to use, what can serve me, what makes me happy, what feels good, and I'm trying to pass on anything that is old or I don't like or would serve a friend better. And last year I did a thing, or at the beginning of this year I did a thing where I made a list of everything that I would be fine parting with and then offered it to a friend. And I would like to do that again. I still have some of that list, but some of the products, you know, I've used or whatever, or I like more now than I did then. So I want to do that again and see if I can get any more stuff out, especially now that I'm back here with my friends, with some of them who enjoy makeup and, you know, who else I meet, and just making sure that I'm keeping track of what I'm enjoying, what I'm liking, what's working for me. And then one other thing is I do think I want to try and implement a kind of low buy system for next year. That's just on kind of the horizon for me right now. I've been looking over my intentions like for the year and my notes and stuff, and like I've been using cream and liquid highlighter way more than I did, and there are some that I kind of have my eye on, but I feel like if I said like, oh, if you finish the 2 liquid highlighters you have now, you can buy that, or a liquid highlighter, I feel like that might be like a good system to make sure I don't at some point go like, well, you know, fuck it, I'll just go buy it and end up with more than I need, or like, I don't know, if there's like a lip gloss that's come out that I really think might work for me, being like, well, yeah, but you have 10, so like work on 1.5, and then, you know, go get it or something. And yeah, I think also setting smaller goals, like not everything's about finishing a product. I have done a couple goals that have been using half of a product, and I think that's actually really nice. If you can track it, you know, like that's actually quite nice. And yeah, just like setting myself up for success in the future has been a really kind of important thing to keep in mind, I feel like. Anyway, if this makes any sense, thank you so much for watching. I know this is going to be kind of a longer one, lots of talking, lots of numbers. I might not put all the numbers up on screen because I kind of said them kind of randomly, but for sure at the end of this Gregorian, is Gregorian, right? The Gregorian year, I'll do a video where I have like all the pictures again and all the numbers up on the screen of the past couple years. And I'm hoping that I will have even more finished products, even more pans. Yeah, and if you are interested in a video about my plans for the last third of the year, let me know. I am probably gonna make it anyway, but it's nice to hear that you're excited for it. And I'm really excited about some of these products that I'm gonna be trying to focus on, and some of the pans I'm gonna be trying to hit, and everything. So yeah, stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!